Let's talk about something I think we've all felt at work. It's this weird paradox, right? Where it feels like the harder everyone works, the longer the to-do list gets. You're putting in all this extra effort, but all you see are longer and longer queues. So, what on earth is going on?
Does this sound familiar? You look around and everyone is just slammed, totally overwhelmed. There's this constant hum of busyness. But then you step back and look at what's actually getting done, and the outcomes just don't seem to match all that frantic energy. It's so frustrating, and it's a fast track to burnout.
So when we feel that pressure, what's our go-to move? Well, we usually fall right into what I call the effort trap. On the surface, it makes perfect sense, doesn't it? If work is getting bogged down, our gut tells us to throw more at the problem. More people, longer hours, trying to juggle more projects at once. It feels like the most logical, direct way to fix things.
But here's the twist. What if that very instinct is actually making the problem worse? To really get why, we have to stop looking at effort and start looking for the real pace setter of the whole system.
And this is the fundamental mix-up. We see a slowdown and we think, oh, it's a lack of effort, so we try to muscle our way through it. But the actual problem, almost always, has nothing to do with how hard people are working. It's about the hidden constraints baked into the system itself.
Okay, so what exactly is a constraint? Think about it like this. Imagine a giant 4-lane highway that suddenly narrows down to a single-lane bridge. It doesn't matter how many cars are on that highway or how fast they're going. The bridge is what determines how many cars get to the other side per hour. That bridge is the constraint, and it sets the pace for everything.
And at work, these constraints are everywhere. It could be that one specific person or team that has to sign off on every little thing. Or maybe it's a clunky old piece of software that everything relies on. It could even be something less tangible, like a company rule for prioritization that seems to change every single day so no one can ever build up any real momentum.
Now here's the kicker. Sending more and more cars flying toward that single-lane bridge doesn't get anyone across faster, right? It just creates a huge, miles-long traffic jam. It's the exact same thing at work. Piling more work into the system before the constraint doesn't speed anything up. It just makes the waiting line even longer.
And all that busyness, that traffic jam of work, it's not harmless. It actually creates all these hidden costs and side effects that slow us down even more.
This brings us right back to that feeling we started with. The effort goes up and up. Everyone feels it. But the throughput, the actual amount of finished work that makes it out the other side, it just stays flat. The system is basically just absorbing all that extra energy and turning it into heat, not progress.
So where does all that energy go? Well, it gets burned up by things that feel like work but don't actually move the needle. You get more multitasking, which forces more meetings and coordination, which leads to constant context switching. And we all know how draining that is. That's the real cost of being busy instead of being productive.
Okay, so if throwing more effort at the problem is a trap, then what's the alternative? Well, it starts with a huge shift in how we see the problem. It starts by asking a completely different and much better question. This reframing is just so powerful. We are obsessed with the first question. How can we do more stuff? But this flips it on its head. Instead of focusing on the input, we start looking at the blockage. What is everything waiting for? That single question forces you to look at the health of the whole system, not just individual heroics. And really, this is the core of it all. As long as you ignore that real constraint, adding more capacity and piling on more work just makes it look like everyone is being productive. In reality, all that extra activity is just noise. It's a way of hiding the real bottleneck, which means you never see it clearly enough to actually do something about it. Look, the point of all this isn't to give you some 5-step plan. It's really to offer you a new lens, a new way of seeing, and a few questions to just hold on to and reflect on in your own world.
So start with this one. Just look around and ask yourself, where does work always seem to pile up? It doesn't matter who's working on it or how busy they are. There's just always a queue in that one spot. That's a massive clue. It's like a big flashing sign pointing you right at a constraint.
And once you spot that queue, dig a little deeper. What is the one thing, the one dependency that truly sets the tempo? The thing that, no matter how fast everyone else is paddling, is the real determinant of your team's overall speed. And I'll just leave you with this final thought experiment. Imagine if, instead of asking for more resources or telling people to work harder, all of that energy was focused on making things just a little bit easier at that one single bottleneck. What would that unlock for the entire system? It's a really powerful question to sit with.